Welcome to Wing 3 of SFO LFR. It's time for Anduin.
It is done.
The final chamber of the sepulchre opens before me. Now there's supposed to be some dialogue here between these characters and Anduin. It's like Sylvanas says something like, apparently there was a bug with the bridge earlier, but so it's like, we must help Anduin with his willpower to break this control. And Janel's like, we have to help him. I will not fail again. Oh, here it is.
Our only hope is that Anduin's will proves stronger.
We must help him break free. I cannot fail again.
It's like, look, there's stone soup here. Eat up. Eat up, everybody. Okay. Controlled by domination magic, Anduin is being forced to aid the jailer's plan to remake reality. As time runs out to stop him, the champions of Azeroth must make a difficult choice. Defeat the young king to save the cosmos, or risk everything in order to restore his soul. This fight, whoo boy, this fight.
Your reality ends here.
AOE incoming.
Domination word. Ping.
So there's quite a bit of pre-stabilities in here he's going to have, of course. You just noticed he probably put domination word pain on me.
The power barrier. Domination word.
He puts this big barrier here, which we have to soak and absorb.
Spread.
And then we have to spread and do this match game, depending on what we get, which is, alright, I got yellow, and then we match with purple. If you match with the same color, you explode and die. So it's important to go ahead and do that. And I just used my ability when I shouldn't have. Although this is LFR, we'll have to wait and see exactly how this is going to work. Let's match up with this guy. There we go. Oh, crit strike, man.
AOE incoming.
Let's actually try it. Let's try this guy here. Nope, crit strike again. Like, who else is using haste or mastery?
Spread.
There is no balance.
Stun.
Oh.
Your end has come.
AOE incoming.
Domination word. Ping.
No, don't res the DPS. You don't battle res a rogue.
The power barrier.
It's LFR, everybody. Expect to see things you thought you'd never see. That's just how it works. I don't think there actually is a Kingsmorn phase in LFR. Do we just get max will stacks when that phase happens? I think so.
There is no balance.
Domination word. Last
Stack.
ping.
Alright, so I'm going to have to talk about this since it looks like that phase is just not even here. Come to me! Come to me!
Domination word.
There we go. just standing in the middle. I'm like, come to me! Yeah, okay, so that phase is not even in LFR. That's hilarious. Alright, so this is an important phase for the story. Look at this.
We will not fail you.
Remnant of a fallen king. That's the Lich King.
Was one failure after another. At Anderhall, you failed your kingdom and your prince. Today, you fail not only the boy king, but your entire world.
So notice that all the damage we're putting on this Remnant is going to Anduin. That's really important. But we also have to be careful because during this phase, he is doing Remorseless Winter, which of course is doing big damage to us. So this is the part of the fight where you have to use basically all your big cooldowns here, defensive and damage, because he deals a lot of damage, but he also is, you know, able to transfer all that damage to Anduin, and as you saw when he was calling the Army of the Dead, using things like my Abomination Limb is very, very important. Now this next part, I think, let's see if it's still here. I think I saw somebody streaming that it's still here in this fight. So this is where we could wipe if it's not handled right. Those reflections come up, and we have to crowd control them, because if we don't,
We can start.
we get feared. And that can cause a wipe. So it looks like somebody did crowd control that, but those are still up. And they're DPSing it, even though we're trying to CC it. That's really funny. See, someone's trying to crowd control that, and it keeps getting attacked. Look, see that?
AOE incoming.
Those still keep attacking that. That's... oh, man. LFR, ladies and gentlemen. Also, you're noticing I'm getting quite a bit of stuttering and lag here. This fight just seems to really be demanding on anyone's rig, because it wasn't just mine. When we were progressing this with my guild, and I was asking, hey, is anyone getting lots of bad lag during this fight? And they were like, yeah, this seems to be very demanding. So I was having to turn down my graphic settings way down to deal with some of the graphics and lag that this fight can cause. So there is an upstairs-downstairs phase to this fight that apparently is not in LFR, where he will do this phase called Kingsmorn Hungers, where he causes this big, you know, how do I describe it? Gosh, what's it called? It's like half of a slice of pizza, and that's the shape. And it's, you know, it's colored black, and when he finishes casting it, if you're standing in that shape, you get sent downstairs, and you have to deal with these adds. Some need to be healed, some need to be DPS, and they have to do with Anduin's willpower. So you have to kill the damage adds and heal the other ones in order to give ourselves the big buff that happens during the Remnant phase, which increases the amount of damage we deal, but also reduces the amount of damage that we take. So the better we do in that phase, the stronger we get to deal with the Remnant. If we don't do well, it can basically really wipe us, essentially. So that's the phase that apparently was removed in this LFR version of the fight, which I'm just kind of amused by.
Target you.
Alright, so now we have this mechanic on us called Hopelessness, which puts these debuffs on us that we have to step inside to remove. However, if we did it all at once, it's going to really hurt us.
We can
Your
start.
end has come.
The priest pulled the druid in there to give her the debuff. That's funny.
Do you not understand? This one is bound to me. Fulfill your final purpose. Annihilation. The fate of all who carry my blade. My son. This blade does not belong to darkness. It was forged by valor.
And also by honor.
Its legacy and ours are with you, even here.
Now, let it be finished.
Arthas.
Is this all that remains of him?
The last flicker of his scarred spirit, consumed in the forges of the jailer.
No crown, no throne, not even a soul left for judgment. I hated you, hunted you, and with each selfish act became you. That is my burden to bear. But your legacy is at an end. Be gone then, Arthas Menethil. May the last whisper of your name fade and be forgotten.
I already said what I wanted to say about that cutscene when we saw it earlier. And of course, the group has already moved on. And they look to be heading to the Lords of Dread. So, while that cutscene was going on, Jane said, "I would never give up on you, Anduin." Or Anduin said, "You fought to save me. Thank you." So you need time to recover, but we must press on. The jailer has reached the final chamber of the sepulchre. He is perilously close to victory. The consoles have been infused with domination magic. They will subjugate anyone who tries to follow him. There must be a way. The answer lies within the mysteries of the first ones. Their secrets can guide your way forward, if forged by the proper hand. We have arrived at the most sacred of places, the very heart of the cosmic pattern. The jailer will try to dominate our minds. Are you certain we'll be able to resist his power? Of course! Well, in theory, that is to say, without proper testing. So, yeah, as you can see here, we're battling trash to make our way to fight the Lords of Dread. Now, I'm a little conflicted about this story-wise. On one hand, I think it is cool, because it's Mal'Ganis, but on the other hand, Contessa? It feels like there should be more Dreadlords here present for this. Like, not even necessarily participating, but just, like, in person. Using subterfuge and guile, the Nathrazim have worked for eons to bring the jailer's plan to fruition. Now on the brink of their master's victory, they only need to complete one final task to ensure none are left to resist the new order of the cosmos.
Alas,
within our grasp.
the end of this wretched farce.
So yeah.
I have toyed with you long enough.
Seriously?
Barely an inconvenience.
Our game finally draws to a close.
So I have yet to actually do this fight on normal because I had work when my guild was progressing. So I have yet to actually do this fight on normal. I've done Rygalon. I did it just the other night. But I have yet to do this fight. So we have a, you know, again, I feel like it almost came across to me as if this was supposed to be, that this was supposed to be like the final confrontation we have with the Dreadlords, you know? And if that was the case, then yes, of course Mal'Ganis should be here. He was the original. He absolutely should be here. I can't remember any other point where Contessa, by the way, he just, once again showing their shape-shifting. I honestly don't remember Contessa at all. I mean, when you think about famous Dreadlords in Warcraft, you think of Mal'Ganis, you think of Tychondrius, you think of Veramothras, you think of Mephistroth. Now, we dealt with some of these guys back in Legion. In fact, Veramothras is dead. But, I mean, for good this time. While Tychondrius and Mephistroth have been recovering in the Nether. Mal'Ganis, however, came back after he made a quick little cameo in Legion, and then we never saw him again. And, of course, we saw him in Warcraft 3. We saw him make a return appearance in Wrath, because he, of course, wanted to get revenge on Arthas. But,
We are on the street of time.
then finding out that he was, you know, about the Dreadlord's true allegiance to Nathrius, and Mal'Ganis, of course, being one of the leaders and such, makes perfect sense. It just feels like other Dreadlords from the past that we know should be, like, circling the room watching the fight, and that what we do here, like, effectively defeats them for all. I don't know how, but, because we're not exactly in the Nether, but it almost, maybe in the way defeating them here would somehow do that? I don't know. It just feels like a little, like, we're not really doing a permanent defeat of the Dreadlords, rather just, once again, inconveniencing them, you know?
He was merely an instrument. A step
Because otherwise it feels like
larger.
we should be trying to do some kind of big final defeat of them. But anyways, this fight has what is known as the Among Us phase. Now, for the record, I've never played the game Among Us. I know about it. I've seen other people play it. It seems rather fun with friends. I just have never had the opportunity to really play with other people. But from what I've seen in someone streaming this in LFR earlier, this seems like they really made it super easy to deal with in LFR. It does make me want to see what the difference is going to be when we when I do this on normal or even heroic, when we try and do that in our guild. We have not reached them in heroic at all. I think in our guild we are 4 of 11 in heroic. And I'm asleep. I just realized I had an ability to deal with that. I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh wait, I'm a Death Knight. I have a Lichborn.
Special coming.
To darkness.
Swarm of Decay. Now this seems familiar. Just as a reminder, Mal'Ganis is a playable character in Heroes of the Storm, and this is actually one of his ults, where it becomes this carrion swarm. Oh my gosh. Just stop. Stop. Oh, man. Get that out of my videos.
Here comes Horde.
You motherless for my new friend.
Open vein.
I'm just waiting. By the way, notice that their health is going down at the exact same time.
Grips you.
So I guess in other difficulties they have separate health, and you have to, because you'll notice here it says, upon death each of the Dreadlords turns into a rampaging swarm until the other is destroyed. So apparently in LFR that's not a concern, because as you can see their health is going down at the exact same time.
No one.
Here we go. Here's the Among Us phase. Now, you can actually see them right there. I'm like, wait!
Bask in his...
Why are you attacking me?
Rise as an agent of the Master's rage!
Infiltration.
There we go. Apparently, if you don't pull that off within 40 seconds, identify who the, they are, then I think we all wipe. I think.
Open fangs.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have been in front of him like that.
Hereditarian.
It's like, oops.
Horror grips you.
Fearful trepidation. Special coming.
To darkness!
I asked for Rigel to kill them, yet all I get are feeble wealth. By Yimmer, slaughter them!
Mortal after all.
Slung by
Tier pieces dropping. I'm pretty sure... Oh. Okay, so apparently there's some fast travel back to the middle. So anyways, you'll notice some tier pieces dropping. Next week, there's going to be a new system in place called the Catalyst, which is actually going to allow us to actually create tier pieces. If you have already acquired items from this season, you will have the option using resources to actually convert them into tier pieces. So an example would be, say, if I got this headpiece from a dungeon or something, then I could be able to use resources to convert it into the tier piece that I need, because I already have one. This is the only one I have right now. Now, you can see, when it comes to the tier pieces, I don't think I've talked about this yet. The different buffs or, that you acquire for each piece. There's the 2, and then there's the 4. And based on what spec you're playing, it will be different. In my case, as an Unholy Decay, every 5 Clawing Shadows that burst Festering Wounds applies Soul Reaper on the target and summons an Army of the Dead Ghoul for 15 seconds. At 4 pieces, my minions deal 10% more damage, and when Soul Reaper's secondary effect triggers, the bonus increases to 50% for 8 seconds. So, yeah, some of these can be really, really strong. On my Demon Hunter, it increases the duration of Metamorphosis, and it reduces the cooldown of Metamorphosis every specific amount of Fury that I spend. So, yeah, some of these can just be really, really strong. People talked about how, like, some of these are, like, you can sacrifice item level to get tier pieces because what they provide you when it comes to your spec and class is just so strong, it's okay to take a hit on your item level. So, that's why some people here would be even farming LFR here to get tier pieces, even if it's not higher level compared to higher difficulties. So this is Rygalon.
You are known. Your deeds have unbalanced the harmony of the cosmos.
Drawn?
Reality to endure, it must be remade. But you are nothing more than aberrations to be discarded.
Drawn to observe the fateful events unfolding within the sepulchre of the first ones, Rygalon succumbed to the jailer's domination. Now this constellar turns its cosmic power against any who would oppose the banished one.
Result in your demise. Come on!
So I did this on normal the other night, and I can see why people were talking about how they thought this was kind of a boring fight. Also, apparently, so there's another Necro DK in our raid group. I wasn't there, but he was, and apparently using Abomination Limb can mess with one of the mechanics that involves the circles here, because you get a debuff on you. And you need to get rid of it by going into another area, I think called the Shadow Realm. And you go in, yeah, right here. So those circles right there, you enter those circles when you get the debuff on you, which, you know, the circles drop based on those quasars. So you DPS the quasars, it makes that circle. When he casts the debuff on you, which is that black arrow right there, you're supposed to enter the circle to remove the debuff. And then when you do, you go into an area called the Shadow Realm. Massive bang. You stay up in these. This is the Shadow Realm area that I was talking about here.
There is no realm in which you can hide.
When you go into the Shadow Realm, you will come back after a few seconds, but you will do a knockback. So when you go in there, you're supposed to then run over here, or just kind of away from the raid group, so that the knockback doesn't hit anybody. Also, you got to avoid those things on the ground there, because they can hurt. So mechanics-wise, this fight isn't exactly what I would call one of the most special or memorable. But, you know, it has its place, and you have to, you know, this was another one of the walls in the Race to World First. This was a pretty tough fight to meet because it's definitely a gear check fight, because you have to try and kill him within a certain amount of time, deal with all the damage he does. So you'll see here, I went back in there, knock, 3, 2, 1. I come back and I do a knockback there, so. But again, those circles are not meant for me, they're only meant for the players who have the debuff. So if I take that circle and we run out of circles, it's going to do damage to the raid, which is why that's important.
It must be done.
Special coming.
The fury of the cosmos.
Big bang coming in, so then we stand in these to avoid taking a lot of damage, otherwise it's going to...
The singularity.
Although on LFR it looks like it does not do anything. Sometimes it's laughable seeing the difference between LFR and normal. Just in terms of how the mechanics are just nerfed into the ground. Because in normal you have to do these mechanics, otherwise you will wipe. Whereas in LFR it looks like, you don't have to worry about it that much. Not really. Now, we had some people leave, and of course this group is impatient, so we didn't wait for more people to come in to make this fight go faster, but whatever, what are you gonna do?
Reordered.
But yeah, the reason why this is such a big gear check is because after a certain amount of time, he's going to do another massive bang with nothing for us to save ourselves, and it wipes everybody. And this is what kept the Race to World First going for Echo and Liquid, because they couldn't meet the check. It was coming down to the wire. And of course, one of the big turning points for that race was when, you know, you only have 20 people in Mythic, and they were trying to meet the damage checks, but also the healing checks, and they had 5 healers. And then Echo decided, we're gonna 4 heal it. And the idea of that was just kind of like, no, there's no way. Because you're not going to be able to have the healing check to deal with that.
Of the cosmos.
I mean, yeah, you'll have the damage, but you guys won't be able to actually survive, you know.
The singularity.
all the damage it does without that 5th healer.
Extend.
And then Echo's healers just went insane, because they did 4 heal it, and they met the damage numbers, of course, and the healers just were incredible. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, where I was just like, wow! Like, if I was part of Echo, I would have told the healers, okay, next time we go out for drinks or dinner,
Phase change.
I'm paying for your stuff. Like, it's on me. Because you guys earned it.
These ciphers describe an opening to the very heart of the sepulchre. The jailer must be there.
Sorry, man. He won the role. Them's the breaks. Like, I wasn't opposed to giving him the ring, but to me it's just only fair that if I don't want it, that I give other people a chance by putting it up for roll. So. But, yeah. Was there anything else in these I want to talk about? I think that was basically it, but yeah, just to follow up, continue what I was saying. Like, if I had been part of Echo and I had, you know, just kind of seen that, I would have told those 4 healers, you guys, I'm paying for your drinks, your dinner, whatever. You earned it. Like, it's on me. Because, wow. Like, they step up and they play like that, they earn, like, some comp. You know what I mean? Just saying. But, yeah, that was the turning point of that race. Being able to pull that off. Because it was just so close and neck there. But once that happened, it was like, oh, wow. Because some people didn't even think that was possible. And then it happened. So all that leaves for LFR Sepulchre is Zovaal. Now, as I mentioned, next week, they're adding this thing called the Creation Catalyst, which is going to allow us to have the opportunity to convert some of our gear into tier set items. So that is going to obviously help. However, the thing is, and we learned this once those guilds got to the jailer, was that, Zovaal, was, it doesn't quite matter that much how geared you are. If you don't follow the mechanics, you're not going to win. Like, it doesn't matter. Now, I am so curious to see what LFR Zovaal is going to be like. Like, how nerfed is he going to be? What mechanics from that fight are just simply going to be removed? You guys saw it. They removed the Kingsmorn. I'll even show it to you here. The Kingsmorn phase, because is it even going to show up here in the journal? I don't think it will. It doesn't even show up in the journal. That's hilarious. Now, if we go to normal, here it is. You'll see right here. Kingsmorn Hungers. Anduin sends the souls of players, inflicting shadow damage to players in front of them and banishing their souls for 35 seconds. But you have to have people go down there because it's going to, you have to take down those souls in order to be able to get that buff. Anduin's Doubt and Anduin's Hope is what they're called. So every time we take down the Doubt, we give him 5 willpower. If the healers heal the Hope, they give him more willpower. Which, you know, just to reiterate, this is what why that matters. Because then Anduin grants players up to 200% increased damage done and 90% reduced damage taken based on the amount of willpower that was consumed. So that, we just got full willpower in LFR regardless because we didn't have to deal with that phase. That's just so amusing to me. Also, apparently, Lords of Dread, I don't know how you're supposed to do that on normal or higher, because it just seemed like, oh, hey, look, you can clearly see which ones have the Dreadlords on them, because I could see them. I was like, oh, hey, look, there they are. But what's that like on normal? Like, how does that work? Like, I'm so curious. I have to rewatch how people were doing that on higher difficulties, maybe even rewatch their kills on the Race to World First to see what that was like. But, yeah. We're almost done with Sepulchre. We just have Zoval left, so it doesn't look like, you know, that there's going to be any more... I don't know if there's any more story content other than us just simply seeing the Zoval fight in LFR, where I can show you that fight. And again, that's another fight I have yet to actually experience. I have not reached the Jailer yet, because I hadn't even killed Lords of Dread on normal. I got Rygalon on one of my alts when we were doing an alt run on Sunday, and so I got to experience that for the first time, but not Lords of Dread. So I'm going to try to actually experience that fight this week at some point, so I can be able to have that under my belt. And at some point I hope to try and do the Jailer, and especially because, well, let's just say, I want to get this weapon. Not only does it look cool, but it has a really strong ability. Like, people are talking about how this is an extremely strong ability, apparently. Where you get a boon for 60 seconds based on destination. I've yet to see how strong these boons are, but people keep talking about how strong they are. So, you know, the fact that I can get it as a Death Knight, well, we'll just have to wait and see how that's going to go. Now, that's on normal. And yeah, that's an LFR. Appearance-wise, it doesn't change based on the difficulty. So this, again, this is not like how it was in Sanctum, where based on the difficulty, it changes the actual appearance of the gear, which I thought was a really cool thing. It made me actually want to farm each of the difficulties to collect the stuff in that raid. Here, you don't really need to do that. There's no reason to do that whatsoever. You know what I mean? So anyways. Yeah. So in a couple of weeks, when that gets added, we will be taking a look at Zoval in LFR. Stay tuned.